Get me the hell out of here. These people are crazy.
I want to move on to that salacious anti-Trump dossier.
Sure.
Now, President Trump made a comment about this on Hillary's involvement in it.
Don't forget, Hillary Clinton totally denied this. She didn't know anything. She knew nothing. All of a sudden it found out. What I was amazed at, it's almost $6 million that they paid, and it's totally discredited. It's a total phony. I call it fake news.
She may have broken campaign finance laws because they didn't report that $5 million deal. They said it was legal services.
That is correct. FEC fines Hillary Clinton campaign and DNC over Trump-Russia dossier research.
The Clinton campaign has been fined $8,000 and the DNC slapped with a $105,000 penalty. The FEC says both parties failed to properly report payments for opposition research and the production of the dossier, instead labeling the payments legal services.
It's almost certain that there was a violation of the FEC rules by the DNC and Hillary's campaign.
That is correct.
Because you have to report campaign-related expenses. There's no loophole for using law firms to commission documents that are used in the campaign.
He is correct.
The Hillary Clinton campaign broke federal law.
That is correct.
3 years later, the FEC finally woke up and said, yes, that's illegal, and we need to fine them. Had any other campaign done it, they would have fined them to the tune of tens of millions of dollars.
Great that is correct.
Has anybody apologized for their roles in this?
Hillary Clinton and the Steele team and Fusion GPS have not apologized, even though her lawyers for the campaign have been indicted by special counsel John Durham. So federal indictments, federal fines showing corruption and a breaking of the federal law is not enough for the mainstream media to come around and say not only did they get it wrong, but they got it so wrong that they need to be calling out the Hillary Clinton campaign because these people have been corrupting the media for decades.
That is correct.
Honey, did you go grocery shopping like you said you would?
That's Putin's fault, babe. Groceries cost too much since Putin's price hike.
And you didn't fill up the car with gas either. It's almost empty.
Yeah, that's Putin too, you know, 'cause he made the thing.
Look at this mess! What do you have to say for yourself?
That's Putin too.
And why is the sink full of dishes?
Putin.
How is any of this Putin's fault?
You know, Putin, the president of Russia.
What does that have to do with any of this?
Well, I just told you.
What's the deal with this pile of laundry then?
Looks like Vladimir hasn't been Putin his clothes away.
What happened to all the money in our savings account?
I bet it was those Russian hackers.
Did you just...
That was Putin.
Listen, you have some serious problems and you need to start taking responsibility for your own actions without blaming Putin. And I need some fresh air.
Oh, son of a bitch.
This Hillary Clinton, she went on and on about how Donald Trump stole the election, and we don't hear that narrative anymore. Short memories, don't we?
Trump knows he's an illegitimate president who got illegitimate foreign help. He knows he's an illegitimate president.
Trump is on his comeback trail here. And if people think they've heard the last of Donald Trump, they're absolutely fooling themselves.
Yes, you're quite right. All the people who saw those interviews with Hillary now know Hillary was talking rubbish. In fact, she used illegitimate repeatedly, but did you notice at least one time she used the word stolen?
You can run the best campaign. You can even become the nominee, and you can have the election stolen from you.
So she's using exactly the same language as Trump, because both the Clinton campaign and the DNC spent millions to set up the Steele dossier, and they're being fined $100,000 for the Democratic National Committee and $8,000 for Hillary. So the fines are far too small.
CBS News has confirmed FBI Director James Comey personally briefed the president-elect last week about the claims. Sources say Comey did not mention all the salacious details from a 35-page report. The dossier was produced by former British intelligence officer Christopher Steele. An unidentified client requested the information.
An unidentified client requested the information.
You know? On the Russia investigation, are you concerned that you may have
I'm not concerned about anything with the Russian investigation because it's a hoax. That's enough. Put down the mic.
Mr. President, are you worried about indictments coming down in this investigation?
Run.
The Russian collusion hoax has been called the biggest political scandal in American history. And if you look at some of the polling, a disturbing number of left-leaning voters in America believe that Russian collusion determined the 2016 election result. Many of these Democrat voters to this day believe that Trump stole the election with the help of Russia.
What we've discovered increasingly, including over the past week, is that the Steele dossier was totally nonsense. We knew previously that it was paid for by the Hillary Clinton campaign. What we didn't fully realize is that the contents of that dossier was based on just completely made up statements by Hillary Clinton's own associates. So she paid for it and then she filled it with rubbish contents.
Parts of the now infamous dossier on Trump have proven to be true.
I know the history of the dossier, but it hasn't been discredited. In fact, it's been the opposite. It's been corroborated. Much of the dossier has been corroborated.
This discredited dossier, which was paid for,
Your intel community has corroborated all of the details in there.
But we knew from almost the very beginning, though, Max, this dossier was suspect. There was things in it that just could not be true and were debunked almost immediately. And yet we had this Russiagate nonsense continue for years.
We know that with the FISA application, the relevant parts of Christopher Steele's dossier were corroborated.
Say that information from the dossier, it would only be after the FBI had in fact corroborated information through its own investigation.
We also know that as time goes on, more and more parts of the Steele dossier get corroborated.
So when the president just refers to it as fake dossier, that is false.
I don't think that is the accurate characterization for it.
Has there been any accountability for those who were complicit in pushing this Russian collusion fantasy, the government agencies, the academics who pushed it, and of course, most importantly, I would say the media. The media was so complicit in pushing this narrative. They gave each other awards for covering it.
Investigators have corroborated part of the dossier.
Dossier has been corroborated by the intelligence community.
U.S. investigators have corroborated some of the allegations in that dossier. Although
We do know that parts of it have been corroborated.
It's not been corroborated, but it hasn't been disproven either.
Is there anything in the dossier that has been disproven?
No.
But not one thing has been disproven. No major thing from the dossier has been conclusively disproven.
And it's worrisome to publish allegations like this without a shred of evidence. Look, nobody wants to believe that Trump paid Russian hookers to pee all over a bed more than I do. But there is zero proof that happened.
That is correct.
To date, none of it has been disproven, and whole big parts of it are holding up.
The dossier holds up well. None of it has been disproven.
All of the allegations in it, I don't know that anything has been disproven.
It's a fact that none of it, not one word, has been disproven. In fact, a lot of it turned out to be right on the money. Former high-ranking intelligence officials have told us on the record that there is nothing in the Steele dossier that they know to have been disproven. Much of the dossier has been corroborated. Do you not accept that
I don't agree with that, Allison.
This is our reporting, and this is what crime-fighting agencies have said, that the FBI would not have just taken a dossier to the FISA court and used that as their predicate for the surveillance.
I personally cannot even look at Rachel Maddow on MSNBC without sort of chuckling to myself.
They're literally trying to create a new news story the night of the first debate that the real Russia scandal in 2016 was a Hillary Clinton plot.
Specifically, sort of ratifying the contents of the Steele dossier. I do suspect that there will be many viewers who view her as a joke after this, and I really hope so because she's earned it.
That is correct.
Don't call it a comeback. I've been here for years. I'm rocking my peers, putting suckers in fear. voice.